All right. Believe I am live. I have never done a stream before. So I am streaming for the very first time. So I want to show how I am going to win the Nvidia AI Developer Contest, not just by showing what I did, but what I am doing. I want to show the process of developing this application. And so that's why I'm here right now. So I made a video going over this contest, what I'm going to develop to win it, all that good stuff. But I guess I can talk about it a little bit here, just to start off the stream. First of all, I have no idea if the stream is going to get any views. I don't care. The whole point is just to kind of document my process, and also just to build more skills along with programmings and AI. So not only that, but I want to develop soft skills and just like throw myself out there. I don't know what's going to happen, but that's not the point. So anyway, this contest, Generative AI Agents, Developer Contest by Nvidia and LangChain. So there's a couple things to break down here. First of all, what is an AI agent? Well, in the world, you have all these large language models, which are the AIs that you've seen like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. They talk to you like a chatbot. Those are the large language models. They have a lot of general knowledge about a lot of different things. They're not for a specific task necessarily, unless maybe you would consider chat a specific task. So that is what a large language model is. Now, an AI agent is taking a large language model and actually augmenting it by giving it tools so it can interact with the outside world. So, for example, a chatbot could schedule something on a calendar or go out to a database to get information to give a better response. All those kind of anything you can think of where the AI might need to interact with something else, like a website for booking airplane tickets, for example. Like that would be a tool that makes an AI agent. And being able to take these agents and use them together with a lot of different tools makes for very, very powerful and cutting edge AI applications like what you need to build for this contest and what I'm going to be building to win this contest. Now, this contest, it caught my eye because of LangChain. It's something I've actually already been using to develop these applications. And so I thought, hey, I might as well just enter in this contest because I want to push myself to make something amazing using LangChain, especially along with just a lot of other AI things I've been learning. So LangChain itself is just a library that you can use with your favorite programming language like Python or JavaScript. It lays the foundation for AI so you don't have to develop all of the groundwork that most AI applications need, things like prompt templates and memory and execution of like different LLMs working together, like all that stuff that could take hours and hours to develop. LangChain has that for you that you can just bring into your code and use freely. It's really, really awesome. And so this competition, all you have to do is create an AI application that uses NVIDIA technologies and LangChain. And so that's what I'm doing here. The criteria to win this competition that you have to submit it by June 17th. So I'm going to be working my butt off until June 17th making this application. All they do is they judge you based on the real world application, how good it is, how useful it actually is in the real world, how well you integrate NVIDIA and LangChain technologies. That's the second one here, technology integration, and then also the quality of the submission. So what I'll have to do on the 17th when I submit this, or whenever I do, I have to record a 45 to 90-second video demoing it, and so quality of that video as well as yeah, like project documentation and things like that. So that's the criteria. And so the application that I'm going to be making is going to be revolutionizing the personal training industry. And actually, let me pull up my. I'm going to bring this to another monitor here. Here we go. All right, so yeah, this is all very new to me, so gotta get used to this. Anyway, so I'm going to be revolutionizing the personal training industry. And the way I'm going to be doing that is developing an AI application using NVIDIA and LangChain technologies to help create workout programs that personal trainers will make for their clients. And so the way that's going to work, I already have the code started for this. I wish that I could kind of like streamed everything from scratch, but I've already been working on this, especially like kind of like consulting my wife, who is a personal trainer. I'm actually making this for her to start. At least that was the initial goal, and now I'm kind of doing that. Still is the most important thing. Like I want to help her with her personal training, but I've taken this further to now have this be what I'm using for this competition, and also potentially making it a product down the line. And so the way that it works is you give input to the start of this application. That's the things that you want to make for the client. So you'd say like, I want this many workouts for the week. Each workout is this long. This is how much they weigh. These are the client's goals. This is the access they have to gym equipment. You give all that stuff, and it goes in and it makes the first workout of the week. So say you want a 4 workout week program. You would make the first day of workouts, of exercises that make out the workout, I should say, to be specific. And then what it'll do is it'll take that workout that it made, and I'm going to develop a front end where it'll give that workout to somebody, to the personal trainer, where they can give their feedback and also select alternative workouts that the LLM will suggest as well. And so you get that set of suggestions and alternative workouts that you select. You give that back to the LLM and it revises the workout based on that feedback. And then it makes the second day and starts that process. It goes in the loop until it's made all the workouts for the week, and then it gives that back to you. And this is beautiful for a couple of reasons. First of all, it uses so many different AI concepts and LangChain technologies because you have what's called a human in the loop here. This whole thing doesn't just execute and then spit back a result. There's an iterative process with human feedback to really make this application super good. And so that's what I'm super pumped about. And also, AI is not really able to replace a personal trainer at this point, and maybe not ever. One, because the workouts that it generates are not super, super amazing. They can be good, but they're not like incredible, like they can be from a personal trainer like my wife. And so I don't want to just make an application that spits out a workout, which is why I'm making something for personal trainers and not just for people that want AI workouts. The other thing is a big part of personal training is accountability, and that's something that AI really can't do. And sometimes that's actually a bigger deal than the workouts themselves. That's one big reason that people go with personal trainers. And so I want to focus on personal trainers instead of making something to replace them. And so that's the whole point of this application. As you can see, I'm already using a lot of different Lang chain technologies like LangGraph and LangSmith and prompt templates, all this good stuff in this code already. Just this is just in a Jupyter notebook in Google Colab. So this is my starting ground. I have something at this point that can generate workouts, but what I need to do, what I'm going to start with today, is actually use Nvidia for the LLM. Right now, I'm just using Llama run by Grok for my LLM. That's what I learned a lot about when I was doing research on LangGraph and creating these AI agent applications with LangChain. LangGraph is an extension of LangChain to make setups like this that where you kind of have like a graph of execution of like different prompts working together. So yeah, I'm going to switch to using Nvidia. And then I need to kind of augment the human in the loop. The way that I have it set up right now, it's there's not really a place for the human to edit the workouts before it goes into the revision. So right now it just kind of like revises based on its own thoughts of how it should revise. So I'm going to change it up a little bit. And then I'm going to spend a ton of time making a front end for this. I need a beautiful website with a nice chat interface to be able to generate these workouts for each day, edit things like select alternatives and type in free form feedback, and then like have that actually generate the next workout. So I'm going to be putting a lot of time into that as well. So that is a little bit of a roadmap of what I got going on here. I'm just checking the stream again. All right, cool, cool. So that is what I've got at this point. So one thing I'm going to do in the Google Colab, my runtime was disconnected. I have to restart it. So I'm going to just run the whole thing so that the runtime kicks itself back into high gear. All right, so the way this is going to work, this entire time that I'm doing this streaming, I'm just going to do what I normally do, as if I wasn't streaming at all, and I'm going to just chug away at this. I'm going to be talking, obviously. That's something I wouldn't do if I'm not streaming. I don't talk to myself when I code, though I do know of people who do that, and it works well. So maybe I'll realize through this that it's actually beneficial. So I'm just going to work through this problem exactly as I would if I'm not streaming. Maybe trying to explain some things if I actually get viewers. Like right now, I don't have any viewers, but that is expected. Totally okay. So yeah, I'm going to just chug along through this, and let's see where we are at now. Yeah, so I'm just going to share this screen. I'm going to have things going on the other monitor as I do research on stuff. Because I'll be kind of like focusing. I don't want to like be bouncing all over on the screen. I'm actually sharing. So as I do research on things, I'll maybe like show certain things that I'm picking out of like LangChain documentation and stuff. But overall, I'll mostly just be um, showing the code and then copying things over from monitor to monitor. I've got two monitors for my setup here. That's how it works. So, all right, I'm just gonna go and get started. So yeah, the first thing I need to do, um, one thing, I'm gonna pull up the documentation for Nvidia NIMs here. So one thing that's kind of interesting that I have to actually change quite a lot. If I go back up to the prompting here, so I'll just go to the very first prompt. So this is my first. It's pretty big. I put a lot of work into this prompt, consulting with my wife as a personal trainer as well. A lot of work. Yeah, actually hours and hours. It's been insane how much I put in this already even. So yeah, I've laid the groundwork for sure. One thing that's interesting is with Llama, there's these special tokens that you put in the prompt to identify certain things like, oh, this is the user speaking, or this is the system prompt, the system part of the prompt. And that's how you typically will prompt Llama, which is the meta model. I'm using Llama 3, 70 billion parameters. And right now I'm using Grok. So I'm going to switch this to NVIDIA. The interesting thing is looking at the LangChain documentation for using NVIDIA, it doesn't use the same kind of setup where you have these special tokens put into just one single massive string for the system and then the user. And then if I go to the very bottom here, we have the assistance. Like this is calling out like, hey, you start here after taking in everything from the user. But with using Llama with NVIDIA, somehow it's actually more like GPT and Claude, where you set up a chat structure where you have a list of messages that you put into the LLM, where it's like system and then user and then assistant and then user and then assistant, versus having all this be one big string. And so the first thing that I have to do to make this work is I have to make my prompting look more like this, where instead of having one massive prompt, I actually do a chat prompt template from messages, and you can see like here's the system, and then here's the user, and so on. So you do like user assistant if you want to start building memory. So I need to change it. Like you can see, like even with Llama, with chat NVIDIA, it looks like this. So this is the first thing that I need to edit. All right, checking the stream again. I really hope this is working, but I'm sure it is. YouTube's telling me it is. All right. So the first thing that I have to do is I really have to overhaul how this all works with the prompting. So first, I'm going to stop the execution I have here because I have the human in the loop working. It just isn't really like much for feedback yet. It's just like, do you approve revising the next workout? And I can just type like yes, and it'll keep going. So I'm actually going to stop this here because I want to make some changes and then rerun it. So the first thing I need to do is I need to completely overhaul this prompt. And I have a little bit of help to do that because there's another project I was working on where I actually would give a model, and then based on if it was a llama model or a Claude model, it would build up the prompt differently. So if it was Claude, it would actually look more like this. So I have some code that I have downloaded. It's for another project, and just to kind of like keep the focus on the code I'm making now, I'm not going to show that the full code on the screen for what I downloaded from another project that I'm working on. So I'm just going to open this up on my other monitor and then copy some of the things in that I need to actually make it so I can build up the prompt like we have here in the LangChain documentation for NVIDIA. So I'm going to open this. This might open on the other monitor. Or actually, here, let me. All right, just working on my other monitor here. Boom. All right. All right, I just got to find the part of the notebook. So this is actually also a notebook, just like we have here. So I'm just finding the part of the notebook that has what I'm looking for. All right. Okay, so first of all, I need to actually make the chat NVIDIA object here. So um, I think I need to do another pip install. So I'm going to do that. LangChain NVIDIA AI endpoints. That is the other. Yep. And then a string output parser. I already have, actually I'm using a JSON output parser. So I've created this in a way you can see here that like it outputs in JSON format because I've already spent some time working on getting it ready for a front end. I need the workouts to actually be spit out in JSON format so that I can parse it in a front end. And so I'm going to do a pip install of NVIDIA AI endpoints and then chat prompt template. I already have that imported, and then yeah, I got my string and JSON output parser. So that's all I need for dependencies. So I'm just going to rerun this these pip installs here. Let's see what else. All right, so next up, I need to make an instance of Chat NVIDIA. So I'm going to go down here to where I build the Grok LLM, and I'm just going to say I'm going to copy this import statement here and paste it here. I'm going to keep the Grok LLM and just commented it out for now, just because I might as well have it if I want to, because like I don't get unlimited credits for Nvidia like I do with Grok. Grok just has like a pretty strict rate limit, but it's actually pretty good for this, and then I can just do it for free. So I'm gonna keep this and then get the chat Nvidia model. So I'll say Nvidia LLM is equal to chat Nvidia, and then my model I will use 70B instruct. Hope that is fine because I had to change the 8 to a 70 because there's two different models. Actually, there's four different Llama models. You have 8B, and then you have 8B instruct, which is fine-tuned more for chat. And then you have 70B, which is 70 billion parameters. It's more powerful AI, more expensive. And then 70B instruct, which again is fine-tuned more for chat. At least that's my understanding. I might be missing it a little bit, but I haven't done a ton of research on the different types of models. I just know this is the one that people typically use, and a lot of the research I've been doing on creating these kind of agent applications using something that is not super expensive like GPT. Llama is a really good alternative, especially when you can use something like Grok to use it for free. So anyway, I've got the Chat NVIDIA LLM, and so now I'm ready to actually build up that prompt. So this is where I have to take in the code that I have from the other project that I am working on. So um, what I'm going to do is first I'm going to make a function that is specifically for formatting things for llama in the old way. So I'm going to have this available so that I can still use it if I want to use Grok. So format message llama and then format prompt llama. So what this is going to do, you call this function to give a list of messages that is going to be in this format. And so it basically takes this format that I'm about to start using for the NVIDIA LLM and it'll translate it back into this one massive string format that I am using with Grok. And so you feed in the list of messages here, and then for each one, it formats the message with this function, adding in those special tokens that you need, and then it spits that back out. So we have this now, which is good. Um, so I'm going to, well, first of all, I'm actually going to run this to build. Um, oh yeah, I need the API key. Hold on. I gotta go back up the top here. Um, yes. Let me fix that quick. All right, so os.environ. So I already have in my user data for the secrets here in the Google Colab, I already have the NVIDIA API key. And obviously, I'm not going to show that here. But to get that in Google Colab, you just do userdata.get, and then you say NVIDIA API key. So that's the name of the secret in the Google Colab, and then I'm also going to make that the environment variable. And then what you need to do, actually, that's it. Yeah, I just need to set that as the environment variable. So I'm going to run this, and then I'm going to rerun this cell to, yep, get the model, and no error this time. There's a warning before that said that I needed the API key, but now I have it. So that is good. And now I need to translate this into a list of messages. And this, unfortunately, will take a little bit of dissecting the string because what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to get the day workout prompt system, or I'll call it system prompt. All right. I'm just checking the stream again. If I'm pausing awkwardly, it's because I'm checking the stream because I like want to like I'm anal about making sure it's like still running and seeing if anyone joined. Like there's one person that joined for a little bit and then left. I don't blame you. Still getting used to this whole thing. So yeah, sorry if there's any weird pauses because I'm checking. Like this is all so freaking new to me. I'm like way outside of my comfort zone today. I recorded a video earlier. I haven't posted a YouTube video in ages. I recorded one going over this start, basically what I went over at the start, like what I'm making this competition, why I'm going to win, and all that good stuff. That was outside my comfort zone. Now I'm streaming as I'm working on it and yeah, way outside my comfort zone. But let's keep going. So, what I'm going to do here to get this prompt in the new format that I need to dissect the system prompt. And so that's just going to be everything after the tokens for system and before we have these special tokens for the user. So I'm going to copy this right here and I'm going to paste this in a full string like that. There we go. All right. So and then I'm going to just shift tab, bring that back in because I don't need these to be indented. All right, so that is the system prompt. And then we have the user prompt. So day workout user prompt. And that is going to be equal to same kind of deal here where I have to just take everything out of the user section. So everything after the special tokens for the user and then before we have the special tokens for the assistant. So really this is going to be almost everything in the prompt because the system part of the prompt just sets the context like you are an expert fitness personal trainer. This is what you specialize in, blah, 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 blah. And then the user prompt is where you actually get into the main instructions for what you want the LLM to do. So I'm going to actually cut that out right. I need to start making this so it's not way too long. So I'm going to delete the duplicate stuff. And then I'm going to shift tab this in here. All right. So that is the day workout. And then at this point, I can, yeah, I'm just going to delete all of this for now. So, all right. And then these input variables I need to handle manually. So I'm going back to my code. All right. That's weird. I'm looking at the live stream again and it's like playing it back to me, but like 15 minutes in the past. I have no idea how that works, but I assume that is all good. And then if I go to my OBS where I'm streaming from, like that shows it in real time. Yeah, that is wild. All right. So going back to my old code here, or not old code, of code for another project, what I need to do now that I have the system prompt and the user prompt is I need to create a list of messages. And so I'll say prompt messages is equal to, um, what is this here? All right, so it's equal to, so first of all, we have system, and then this is, I copy the name of my variable here, day workout system prompt. And then what does it look like here? If I need to see what the exact, yeah, so it's called the user. So user, because sometimes it can be human instead of user. Like I think with chat Claude it can be. I don't know. I just have to make sure I'm going with the documentation here. When all else fails, do what the documentation tells you to do, and you will typically be good, unless it's outdated documentation. And at that point, there is a larger problem because whatever you're using that has outdated documentation is probably not the best thing to use if they aren't keeping up with that. Anyway, that is an aside. So I have the prompt messages now. And so now what I need to do, I'm actually going to um, I'm going to add a nice little flag here. Uh, so I'm going to say using Nvidia is equal to true. So I'm going to, whoa, that is weird. All right, undo that. All right, so I'm going to have this flag that I set at the top here using Nvidia. And if it's true, then I'm going to build the prompt this way. And if it's false, I'm going to build it the other way. So you'll see how I'm going to do that in a second here. I'm going way too far. Where am I? Okay, so if using NVIDIA, if I can type, so for some reason NVIDIA is a hard word for me to type, probably because it's N then V. And so there's not like a vowel in there. Anyway, so if I'm using NVIDIA, then I'm going to say that the day workout prompt is equal to chat prompt template dot from messages. So this is using the example here from messages. And then I'm going to pass in the prompt messages that I built up where I just have the system and the user. It's really basic right now. I could build in like chat history later so that this array would actually start to build up with the different workouts instead of it just being like each prompt includes all the previous workouts for just like a single user prompt. I've done that before. I've used chat history to do that kind of thing. So I might change that later, but I'm going to start with this because it's simple right now. I just want it to be simple. I want this to work first and then I improve it later. So run messages, that is good, and that is the exact format here. Like you can see that it's an array of tuples, just like I have an array of tuples. So it's the same way if you do something with Claude, which I've worked with before. So, and then otherwise, else, if I'm not using NVIDIA, then I'm going to say that the day workout prompt is equal to, and then this is where I give it a prompt template. So I'm going to pass this in here. That's why I kept this code, is just because I am using it for this section here. So prompt template, and then the first parameter that I deleted before template is equal to, and then this is where I use the function that I made up here, format prompt llama. All right. And then this actually like appends that assistant token at the end like we saw with the prompt before. So I'm going to go back. I am scrolling all over the place. It's kind of annoying when you have all these outputs here from before. Yeah, format prompt, llama, and then messages. All right, and then I'll add a comma here and we should be good. All right. Yeah, so I'm trying to think. The only other thing, I'm trying to remember because now that I'm not using a prompt template, if I'm using NVIDIA, I need to remember how I actually like replace the placeholders in the prompt. Like you have client info, for example, or the previously created workouts, or extra criteria. Like all these are things that you replace in the prompt at runtime. So like here you have a prompt template. Oop, let me replace that. Was a typo there. Oop, hold on, I messed that up. All right, so let me fix that. That's the right variable. For the prompt template, you have the input variable list. And so when you actually invoke the LLM, you pass in these different variables, and LangChain has the functionality to automatically replace these input variables. So you have like bracket day bracket, and it'll replace that with the day that you give in. So I'm trying to remember how I do that with the chat prompt template. Um, it might be automatic actually. So I'm just gonna try it because I am using NVIDIA now. Um, so I'll say the LLM is equal to NVIDIA if using NVIDIA, else grok LLM. Boom. All right. So I have to rerun these things. So I'm actually going to uncomment this, uncomment it, or no, just uncomment it, so that I have both of these available, and then they'll just pick the one based on this placeholder right here. So that way I can easily toggle, because I want to use NVIDIA long term. When I make this submission, I'm going to remove this logic here because I want it to be just NVIDIA for the competition. But as I'm testing things, I don't really know how quickly the free credits go that NVIDIA gives you. So if I'm trying to do like a ton of stress testing or just iterating a lot, I want to use Grok just to make sure that I'm safe there. So that's why I'm doing this. And it's also kind of cool anyway to be able to like have these two different models and just flip it with a switch for the whole application to use one or the other. So that is why I'm doing that. All right, then I'll run these, get this ready. I guess I don't need to rerun everything here, but it's all good. So yeah, so now I'm just double checking my work here. Chat prompt template dot from messages if using the video, which I am. Okay, so this should work. Let's run it. And if I get an error, I will just knock out the error. Looks like it's working. I feel like it would have errored already if it wasn't working. So let's see. This is my first time using the NVIDIA API. So I signed up for the competition. I got my API key. There we go. Yeah, perfect. It worked. I just hope it, let me make sure the flag is set. It's like too good to be true that it worked first try. That never happens with software development. But yeah, using Nvidia, so it's an Nvidia LLM. And then if using Nvidia, yeah, okay, all right, it worked. Let's go. So now I'm using the Nvidia NIMS instead of Grok for my llama prompting, and I'm actually using a different model as well because I'm using 70B instruct, but if you go back up to what I was using with Grok, it was just 70B, so it wasn't the instruct fine-tuned version of Llama 3, 70 billion parameters. So that's cool. I'm using a different service and a different LM, and now I have it all flipped up and ready to go so I can switch between the two. Pretty sweet. All right, so now that I got that set up for the first prompt, I need to actually set it up for the next prompt because we have the first one, which is the workout creator for 1 day in a week, but then I also have the reviser prompt. So it's very similar. And in fact, what I'm going to be doing here is going to be a little repetitive, but these prompts are separate. I think I have the system prompt a little bit different as well, and then the user prompt, of course, is different. So I need to set these both up individually. So yep, so this is a prompt for revising the workout for a day. So I'll say day workout reviser system prompt, and that is going to be equal to, and then just like before, I'm going to take out the system part of the prompt, put that in here, and then remove the indent as well. So that is that. And then I had this, yeah, this is all going quicker because I've done it already for the previous one. Now I don't even have to look at the code from the other project anymore. And then we got the user prompt. So that is everything after this token here. And I guess that, yeah, I don't need this as well. That end of user input token. So let me copy this. Boom. All right. I'll remove this. So now this is ready um, for when I fix that up for if it is using Grok. So here's the user prompt. And these are kind of long. One thing that I'm going to be doing, and this is another thing I've done before. Like, okay, when I say that I've made a lot of AI applications in the last couple of months, I really mean I've made a lot. Like, I've used so many different LLMs, so many different setups. I've done things with the memory, like I said before, with chat memory. Another thing I've done is I have extracted prompts for other applications I made into a user interface. So instead of having the prompt just like pasted into the code, I actually have it fetch it from a Firestore database. And so I have a little bit of code here where it's like day workout reviser system prompt is equal to prompt document dot get prompt, whatever it is. It's just a pseudocode. But yeah, that's something I would definitely do for this as well for two reasons. One, it makes the code look a lot nicer when it's not bogged down by a massive wall of text for the prompt. Like I'm not looking at code here, I'm just looking at a prompt, but I have to scroll so far to actually get to the next part of my code. The other reason is then if I have the prompt extracted out to a user interface, I can change the prompt without having to redeploy my application. That's actually probably even the bigger reason to do that. And that can save so many headaches because sometimes, actually a lot of times, with one of my applications, I'll run into an issue where it's like, oh shoot, I just need this tiny little tweak in the prompt, and I know that it's all it'll take. A lot of times AI is smart enough where that'll work. Sometimes it's dumb and that won't work, but other times and you get comfortable and familiar with these kind of situations as you work with AI, like like, oh, if I tweak this one little thing, that'll fix my problem. And so you don't want to have to redeploy the entire application just because you changed a couple of words in the prompt. And so having that extrapolated out to a user interface and pulled dynamically in the code is the way to do that. So anyway, I'll get off my soapbox for that. I'm keeping things simple, like I said, for now, and then I'll work on that later. There's a lot of things that I'm going to work on later after I make this really, really solid, just as a proof of concept. Okay, so I got that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the code I have from the other section because it is going to be quite similar. So let me go here. Boom. All right, so prompt messages is equal to, um, let's copy the name of the first prompt, and then I'll replace this and then call it the user prompt. All right. And then if using NVIDIA, I will say that the day workout reviser prompt is this, and otherwise it is, well, here, I'll copy this. Boom. Prompt template. Yeah, actually, that is perfect. So I'm going to remove that. So I can just use the exact same code here. The only difference is I have to replace the name of the variable. All right. And then, yeah, name of the variable here also needs to be different. Everything else is the same. All right, nice. Wait, hold on. No, no, no. I need to change that name as well. Okay, now we're good. I have to make sure that I change everything I really need to, because I need to make sure that, yeah, like everything here is reviser, and then everything at the top when I first generate a workout, that needs to be just like without the reviser in the name. Actually, another thing I could change is I can make the prompt messages initial workout. This might be good to do as well, because that way I have a clear distinction of my variable names for the prompt messages as well. So let me do that. Hopefully I don't break anything here. All right, so yeah, so this one would be instead of prompt messages initial workout, it would be prompt messages revise workout, and then I'll use this when I build up the prompts as well. Okay, so there we go. So now I will run this one, and let's see what we get. Takes a little bit longer here because it's actually using the API for Nvidia NIMs, but that is all good. I'm willing to wait. And that's actually another reason that it's good to have this setup here where I can switch between Llama with Grok and then Llama with Nvidia, because Grok is quicker in general. And you hit some rate limits where it like slows itself down without actually telling you hit a rate limit. So Grok isn't super speedy either, but it's definitely faster than NVIDIA, especially when you're just doing like a one shot, just running like a single cell that's doing a single prompt. It only takes like a couple of seconds instead of 13. So yeah, and that time matters when you're trying to iterate quickly in development. So this looks good. And yeah, one thing that I kind of forgot to call out here that I'm kind of proud of is like the whole JSON setup that I have here. I know I already mentioned that I have JSON for the front end, but it's kind of cool how you have like the warm up with that's the first section of the workout, and it gives you an array of exercises where each exercise it gives you the exercise that it is suggesting, but then it also gives you alternatives in an array. And right now I'm sticking to just two alternatives, but I could make this five, I could make this three, whatever I might need. I'm just trying to keep the tokens a little bit down right now. But that's super cool because then when I parse this JSON on the front end, I can have a little drop down for every single workout where it then show these alternatives. And so I don't have to prompt the AI again. It'll already be there. So it'll be really snappy. They'll be able to quickly go through and select alternatives for anything that they think should change. So yeah, that's pretty sweet. I think that it's a good setup, and I'll always make it better if I need to. But yeah, I think this JSON is pretty perfect for what I'm looking to do. Put a lot of time into that before I started doing the streaming and everything. So, all right. So I got this set up now. The last thing is the should revise prompt. Now, this one I might be taking out because the thing is, before I had this whole idea of like having the personal trainer give the feedback for the workout and then having that feed and generating the next workout. I had the idea that like the AI itself would determine should I revise the workout based on the criteria. Like, oh yeah, this workout does not have a good enough variety, or it's not hitting the correct phase with the workouts there are, or the exercises there are. Then it'd be like, okay, yep, I need to revise, and then it would go and do it. And so that's if I go back down to my graph here that I have, this whole step of like determining should I revise was like just AI instead of having a human in the loop saying like, yep, this workout needs to be revised. So that's what I have this third prompt for is just determining like should I revise the workout. So I might get rid of it because I basically want to always have a human interject and provide feedback before it generates the next workout. I guess the only exception is like maybe there could be a mode in the front end where it's like I don't want to provide feedback. I actually want the AI to just do its thing and generate every single workout for the week and then spit it back out. So in this case, maybe it still would be helpful for the AI to kind of evaluate itself and see if it should revise the workout. So I think I'll stick with this for now. But that's just some of my thoughts there, how I'm kind of evolving my understanding of what I want this application to be. So I will make I'll do just like what I did before, where I make the system prompt, and then I make the user prompt. So let me get started with that. So again, I'll just take out everything in the system prompt here, and then boom, and then I'll make the user prompt. Should revise workout, system prompt, and then should revise workout, user prompt. If I can type, there we go. All right, and I'll take out. This is actually a much shorter prompt, which is really nice because instead of like having to tell it exactly how to output everything and stuff, I just have to tell it like output, should I revise the workout or should I not revise the workout? Much simpler. Because yeah, you can see here that I tell it to output either revise or NA, nothing else. And then I just use that string that it outputs to determine should I go to the next step of revising the workout for the day, or should I instead just go back and start generating the workout for the very next day. So that is what I got here. Yeah, so now I'm just going to copy the code from the previous prompt again. All right, here we go. So prompt messages, revise workout. I'll just call this prompt messages should revise, just to change the name again. And so this is going to be should revise system prompt, and then this is the should revise user prompt. All right, and then day workout revise prompt. I guess it's called reviser prompt. Oh wait, hold on. Hold on. Should revise workout prompt. Okay, all right. I was copying the wrong thing. There we go. That makes more sense. And then I'll have the correct variable name for the prompt messages as well. And we should be good. So should revise workout router. Yeah, so this one is not a generator, it's just a router. So the other two prompts actually generate a workout, but this prompt is for routing because it determines what path I take in the graph that we have here below. So if I need to revise the workout, then I go here. If I don't need to revise a workout, then that's what this little arrow is, where it just goes to the next day. And so this prompt, it takes one of those two paths based on if I output revise or if I output NA. And if the prompt, for whatever reason, does not lead to an output of revise or NA, then I believe I have it defaulting to just going to the next day. But hopefully the LLM would always do its job. It would be not doing its job if it did not output either revise or NA because it would not be listening to my instructions. And as we know, LLMs don't always listen to instructions, but usually that's an issue with the prompting. You can't just blame the model because that's not going to help you anyway. So yeah, so this is a router. That was just a little aside. All right, so yeah, the router is equal to the should revise workout prompt piped into the LLM, piped into a string output parser. So before I was outputting JSON because I want the workouts in JSON format, but now with this router, since I just want revise or NA, I'm just going to do this string output parser. All right, and then boom, let's see what else do I need. Input variables. These need to be changed a little bit because I have the day, the workouts in the week, workout minutes, extra criteria, current workouts, created workouts, and client info. Most of the time, the inputs are pretty similar between all three prompts, but there is a couple of differences there. So let's see. Can I delete this now? I just have to make sure I'm like removing my code without a backup. And maybe it isn't the smartest, but I'm trying to move quick here. But yeah, this looks good. Okay. And then should revise workout is equal to the result of invoking it. All these different things. Let me make sure that I have, okay, day, phase. Um, I am missing an input here. Hold on. This is not right. Because I have an input like this is fake. Because based on the phase, this is like a lot of what I got as expertise from my wife as a personal trainer. There's different kind of structure for the workouts depending on the phase the client is in. Like when they first start, they're just getting into working out. They're in phase one, and that's a focus on stabilization endurance, which really just means like focusing on building your core, building up your endurance, making sure that you're really ready for some of the tougher workouts that come with strength, endurance, and muscular development. Like you're not gonna just start working out and go into clean and jerks or power snatches or anything like that. Like really tough, like barbell exercises. You have to make sure you have a strong core. You know what you're doing. You're very stable, and then you can endure longer workouts doing those movements. Because if you start to weaken, then you're going to injure yourself. And so, yeah, yet another little aside there. But the problem is I don't have an input for the phase here in the input variable. So I'm gonna add that quick. That was actually an issue with the old way of doing things. And the new way, I don't have to with the chat prompt template. I don't need to call out the input variables. So that actually fix that with the new way, but I need to make sure I'm good here. So I have the day, the phase, the workouts in the week, the minutes, extra criteria, created workouts, and client info. Okay, so that is good. And then for the second prompt here, I have the day, and then I'll add in the phase, and then I have the workouts in the week, workout minutes, extra criteria, created workouts, or current workout. Yeah, I'm missing another one because I think I actually copied the input variables from the previous. Yeah, that was a mistake. I copied the input variables from the previous prompt instead of doing the input variables from the old way I was doing things. So current workout. I'm just rambling a little bit here. That is all good because I have to. This is tough. Like streaming is hard. I have to get used to really like thinking through everything and then not just like mumbling as I am talking because it's multitasking and it is hard as hell. But I'm making this work. So day, phase, workouts in week, workout minutes, extra criteria, current workouts, created workouts, client info. All right, that is good. Um, yeah. So I'm just gonna check really quick if this is actually good. I'm still kind of doubting like if I have to give the input variables for the prompt template with the chat prompt template, do I really not have to provide those? Um, yeah, it looks like I don't. I remember doing something for that though, where I like manually did replace things instead of using. Let me look at. Okay, I got yet another old, or not. I keep saying old project, but a different project. This is my newest ones. That's why I'm calling these ones old, but they're. I'm still working on them. Um, so I'm looking here to see if I did something different for that. Come on, where? Give me the prompt. Um, no, I think I'm good. I'm really doubting myself here because, like, technically, if none of these things were replaced and like day was left as bracket day and like phase was left as bracket phase, like technically it would still be like generating workouts fine. They just wouldn't be perfect. And I haven't been like looking over them super closely as I've been changing this yet, which I'll need to do. Um, yeah, no, I think it was good. All right. Yeah, because right now, yeah, let me rerun this now. Um, because well, one thing I can do to really make sure it's good is I can use Langsmith. I just don't have that running right now. Um, well, actually, I guess I do. Just go to Langsmith and check. Let me do that. Langsmith. All right. I don't know why I don't want to sign in. Okay, here we go. I don't remember which account I used. Huh? Might have used projects. What are my projects? I only have one project here. Okay, that is not the right account. I might have signed in with my Cairo Jump account just because I'm using this for so many different things. Yeah, here we go, projects. All right, so fitness program creator. And then the last run was, yep, here we go. So just like 13 minutes ago. And I'll make sure that this was actually yep. Okay, we're good. So revise the workout for day 1 out of 5. This is phase one. So that those would still be placeholders if this replacement wasn't working. I'm just a little anal about it because I had to explicitly call out the different variables to replace with the prompt template, but with the chat prompt template, I don't, which is actually really nice. Like that just makes the code cleaner overall. But I just wasn't sure that that really worked. So we are good. Actually, what I can do here is I can demonstrate an example of the reviser now and actually show that running in Langsmith. So let me do that here. I'll go down to the prompt should revise. Let me make sure this is all set up right. Looks good. Should work out. That looks good. I can delete this one. Yeah, there we go. All right, now it looks good. So I'm going to run this. So it's going to take the workout that I previously generated, which is the current workout, and it's going to determine if I should revise based on the criteria that I have. So if the AI thinks like, oh, it missed something, then it'll say if I should revise or not. In this case, it said revise. It said, yep, you should definitely revise. There's something to be fixed with this prompt. So, or not with this prompt, with this workout. So I'm going to click on the latest execution in Langsmith, and we can see it's really simple right now because there's not a whole list of agents working together in the graph like what I have at the very bottom of my collab, but there is you can see this prompt here, if you should revise. And then, yeah, like throws in, here's the workout that they created, and it just has it in the JSON format, which is all good. Maybe I actually don't want that in. Hold on. Maybe I don't want that in the JSON format. I might need to, let me look at this again quick. So I'm trying to determine current workout. Here's the workout the previous personal trainer created for the day. Current workout is okay, yeah, so I don't format that one like I do. I should probably format that. Do I not format it here either? I don't. Okay. Okay, yeah, okay. So anyway, what I'm doing here, what I'm thinking about is I have this workout that I spit out in JSON format, but when I give it back to the AI to revise, I don't necessarily want that in the JSON format like I do for my front end because I might want it more in like a human message type format because that is what these chat models like Llama and Claude and GPT have been trained to understand is like very natural language conversation. So I have this function that formats a workout by taking the JSON and turning it into something that is understandable. So let me go to the top here and show that. It's just this super, super tiny function right here. So I might actually want to do that for for just like the single workout. Um, I guess that kind of just puts it in JSON. Well, I mean, it's still in JSON format, so yeah, I should be. This should be fine. I'm just doubting myself here because I want this thing to be perfect, but it's obviously working well. So we should be good. Okay, okay, that's good. So at this point, I have all the prompts converted to use Nvidia, which is pretty sweet. And another thing I can do just to test this is I can make sure that things still work when I switch to not using Nvidia. So I'll just switch this to false, and then I'll run it, and then just I'll rerun these sections again, and then I can rerun the execution of the very first prompt. And this should, yep, you can see that it's much quicker. It's just a few seconds. Whereas when I used NVIDIA NIMs for this prompt, it took like 10 or 13 seconds or whatever. So yeah, Grok is faster. That's how I know I'm using Grok, but it's still working, which is good. So I've confirmed that I can very, very quickly switch between using NVIDIA for Llama 3 70B Instruct and using Grok for Llama 3 70B. So that is super, super solid. And later on, I could even create a system where I could like switch between different models all within NVIDIA and then still having like Grok as an option. Like I can set up that kind of logic and just have a switch that I could toggle, maybe even in the front end as well. Personal trainers don't necessarily know like this is the model I want to use, but maybe there could be like different pricing options and stuff. And depending on the tier, like the subscription tier of the service, they would get a different kind of model. So there's a lot I can do there. It's just good to have this kind of setup in general. And then, like I said, this helps me now because I can use Grok when I want something free and NVIDIA when I really want to test, because that's what I'm going to be submitting this application with. So that's pretty dope. Yeah, so what is next? So now I have this all converted in NVIDIA, that's like the first big thing that I wanted to take care of today. So now that I have that taken care of, um, the next thing that I want to do is I want to change the human in the loop so that it's more than just approving the revision of the workout. So right now, when you run this application, um, I guess I can't show it in the output here because it removes the input section. But right now, I have set up the graph so that it interrupts before it revises a workout. And in this case, all this interrupt does is it returns execution back to the user and it says, do you want to continue with revising this workout? And if they say yes, like I just have it so they input Y, you can see right here, like if you input Y, then it continues. If they input anything other than Y, it breaks out of the execution of this graph. So at this point, it's like just an approval method, and then you can stop it from going forward. And so that's like the initial version of human in the loop. That is what all of the examples with LangChain using human in the loop show is just like a simple approval. But I want more than that. I'm just adjusting my mat here. I'm standing, by the way, if you couldn't tell from me kind of fidgeting around. Um, yeah, so that's the initial version of human in the loop. But something more complex that I would want to do is obviously make it so that the personal trainer can input feedback for the workout through freeform text and also be able to select the alternative workouts that I have ready for the front end to parse. And so I need a little bit more than just the typical approval. And this is a bit of a tougher problem. Definitely going into new territory here. Everything that I did was setting up Nvidia. Like I haven't used Nvidia before, but I worked a lot with like setting up different models and creating that kind of toggle. This is something new, so I have to think a little bit about how to do it. Um, it's interesting because one thing that's kind of weird with LangGraph, I don't like a ton. If I could give a little bit of feedback for LangGraph, which is a beautiful extension of LangChain, which itself is a beautiful library. When you do human in the loop, you can see that this is my code here that makes human in the loop possible. Well, first of all, you have to say like when you're compiling the graph, you have to say like you interrupt before this specific step, before revised workout generator. And so what you do is you stream your inputs into the graph and you can like get the output or whatever, get the state. But the problem is when you want to continue after the interrupt, you specifically have to set inputs to none, which makes it difficult to actually update the state of the graph before you continue. Because if you give inputs other than none, like let's say that I actually changed the workout, and so I want to set current workout to like slightly different workout, whatever that might be. That's just a placeholder. That since the input is not none, it'll actually go to the start of the graph. The state will still be there. Like you don't lose all your state, but it'll go to the start of the graph instead of continuing on to the step that you interrupted before. Let me say that again. If your inputs are not none, like if you actually have an interrupt and then try to start with slightly different inputs instead of just none, it'll start here instead of continuing to right where you interrupted, basically. And I don't like that because I want to be able to basically like have some front end where the user would update the workouts and then the current workout would actually be changed before it's passed into the AI workout reviser. But I can't do that because I need inputs to be none to actually continue on in the same place that I just interrupted from. Or repeating myself a little bit here, but I'm still trying to wrap my head around what I want to do with this anyway. It's nice because when I'm just running this in my notebook here, I can call the app.update state function to update something like the day. I tested this and this works. So I could pass in a revised workout. But the problem is in the front end, I'm not going to have access to the object that represents the compiled workflow. Like I don't have access to app. So if a user within the front end changes the workout, and within that JavaScript, there's not a way for me to say app.update state. So I kind of have to provide some new inputs in when I continue on with invoking the graph again. Um, yeah, so it's kind of tough because in one hand, I need it to be none to be able to continue uninterrupted, as if the interruption didn't happen, but with like updated state. But I also need to give new state so that it has the updated workout. And so what I'm thinking I'm going to do actually, there's two options here. One option is I could actually have the state fetched in the graph from an external source, like a Firestore database. I like Firestore a lot, Firebase in general. I think it's a really good product. So I might be using that for this down the line, to manage like users and storage of permanent information and things like that. But anyway, I could have the state of the workout in a separate location, like a Firestore database. And so then in my graph, like let me go to the node that actually revises a workout. Instead of just pulling the current workout from the state of the graph, I could actually pull it from a document in Firestore. And so that way, in the front end, I can update the state in Firestore and then pass the inputs of none in again so that it goes right to the workout reviser, but then they can still pull the updated workout with the revisions that the personal trainer gave, like the feedback and the alternative workouts and all that. The problem with this is I feel like it kind of goes against the design of LangGraph, where all the state is managed internally in the execution of the graph. So I don't know if I want to do that. And it's just added complexity as well. Another idea I had is I could make it so that I do pass in something other than none for the inputs. So it would go to start, but maybe I could have some sort of flag that says like actually go right to the workout reviser. And so that way there would be a new arrow that goes from start all the way to revise workout generator. And I do that through having like some new node just at the start that is like just like directing to like should I go to the workout generator or did I actually start a new execution with feedback for a workout so now I should just route right to the revised workout generator. I think that is actually what I'm going to do. Because this you still maintain this state when you do that kind of restart by passing in an input other than none. So I'd still have all the workouts built up for the week and stuff. I would just need to have that extra step to route. So I'm going to do that. I think that's the way I'm going to go because I like this method a lot of just being able to update the state here and then continue. But yeah, I did some research because in the end, this needs to be in a front end. I did some research, and there wasn't really a way to do this from the front end where I could just update the state of the application through like just like a single function call like this. So I really do think I need to go this route. And maybe I'm missing something big. Maybe this is going to be a feature that'll be implemented soon. Who knows? But at this point, I just need to move forward with what I know will work because I got to get this thing working by the 17th. And anyway, it's a pretty decent solution. Because another thing to think about, kind of like silver lining to having to set this up, is if I have some like entry point node, I could also like put security in that node as well. And so that way, no matter when you are starting the execution of the graph or starting it again, like after feedback, it still has to go through that single node, like that single entry point that can have security checks, like making sure that the personal trainer is still authenticated, that their session didn't expire, for example, and also to make sure that like if I turn this into a paid service, there'd be maybe like a certain number of workouts a personal trainer could generate, or they have like tokens that could be used for generating workouts. And so I could have those checks in that first node. Excuse me. So I'm not necessarily opposed to doing this anyway. I think it might be nice. And so what I'm going to do is there's a few things I have to do here. And I'm going to open a notepad to type these out because I have to be able to remember this here. So the first thing that I need to do here is I need to make it so that the graph can accept feedback from a user on the current workout. So I need to add a new state variable, user feedback for workout. Okay, so I need that because that's like one of the new inputs. So there'll be two inputs that would change from the user feedback. There'd be like the workouts itself. Like if a user selects alternatives, that would actually like update the JSON for the workout itself. But then you also have the free form feedback, which would be like a new piece of state that I would dump into the prompt. So I have to set that up both in the prompt and then adding that new state to the graph. The second thing is I'd actually need another new state variable which is that flag to determine if I am should go right to revising a workout or if I'm generating a new workout. So revise workout or generate new workout flag. And so when I first start the application, obviously this flag would be set to false. If false means don't revise the workout, because then it'll go right to the generate of day one workout. So that's that. And then the third thing that I'll need um, is I'll need that add new node to start of graph. And then this one will determine to route to revise workout or generate workout. Okay, so those are the three things that I need. All right, so let's start with adding the user feedback. 'Cause that's something that I can do way at the top here with the first or with the second prompt that I have. So what I'll do here is I'll just add a new section in and I'll say, here is the feedback the user provided for the workout. And then I'll just kind of follow the same format that I have for the client info above. So I'll call it user feedback. And then this will be a new input variable. So for the old way with the prompt template, I'll just add that in at the end here of the array of the user input variables. And then I need to add this into the object that's used to invoke as well. And so I can actually test this by doing something like very, very specific, where like if it works, I would like very much know that this new piece of input is being considered. It's feedback, and I'll say, let's see here. I'm trying to think of something that's like a little weird, so it's like super obvious that like AI didn't do this. It was because of my feedback. Um, I guess I could call it like a specific exercise. I could say like, um, make sure that a clean and jerk is one of the strength portion exercises. Because this is something that I actually haven't seen AI generate a clean and jerk for a workout yet. Um, and like that's probably just because of like the prompting or whatever, like the specific criteria I put in. But this is just something where like if it puts the clean and jerk in the workout, I know that it's taking in the user feedback now as the new variable. So let's generate this. I'm going to run it and we will see what happens. Make sure that a clean and jerk is one of the strength portion exercises. All right. Let us see if this works. Um, okay, it generated. So let's see. There we go. Yeah, first workout, clean and jerk. So we're good. So this new variable is added. And so now what I'll do is I'll actually add the state in to the application as well. So we'll say, I kind of have like a nice little comment for every state. So I'll say, the feedback the user gave on the latest workout. So this is the free form text, to be clear. So user feedback, and this is just going to be a string. Really, really simple. And then we don't need that in the workout generator, but in the revised workout generator, we do. So we're going to say the user feedback is equal to the state of the user feedback, and then we'll pass that into the invocation of this LLM, just like we did with that first example I had when I'm setting things up before I go into setting up the actual graph. So, oh, just a little typo there. I need a colon instead of a comma, and then we are good. All right. So that is super solid. So now to kind of have this as a test in the graph itself, I'm just going to kind of mock up a little bit of feedback. So I will say inputs. I'll change the inputs now. So I'll say user feedback. Include I don't really know. Actually, I'll just do the same thing. Make sure the strength portion includes uh, clean and jerks, hang cleans, power cleans, or push presses. Just one of the four. Okay, I'm adding in some more options here because it's going to actually use this feedback for generating multiple days here since I have this in the graph now. So, um, inputs. Okay. That should be good. All right. And in this case, I might just delete where it has the user. Well, yeah, I'll comment this out for now. So I don't need to manually be approving things. So the way that this will work in the front end is it'll just run this once, and then it's not going to be in a loop. Like there'll be like a piece. There'll be like a use effect. I use React. I love React. I know there's a lot of advantages to using other things like Vue and Svelte, simplicity and stuff, but I like React. That's what I know. So I'll have a use effect that'll basically just like wait for the user to update some state that's like go on to the next execution. And so then it would run the streaming once, wait for that, and then it would get the new inputs based on what the user changed before they said continue, and then pass that in as the new inputs. And so there's not going to be like some sort of like waiting for like hold up for a response like this or anything like type Y to continue. So I'm going to comment that out for now just to make it more like what it'll actually be when I have this in the front end. So now I have the inputs, and so user feedback is going to be passed in. And one thing that I have to do here is I just need to pass in user input as an empty string when I first start, or user feedback. So I'll just make this an empty string to start. Just so that like that state is there initially, just to make sure it's never undefined. But then I'll actually set it after the first execution. All right, yep. So yeah, make sure the strength portion includes clean and jerks, hang cleans, power cleans, or push presses, just one of the four. And so when I actually generate the workouts now, I'll go back and actually make sure that is the case. Okay, so that is the first thing done, is adding in the new state variable for the user feedback for workout. The next thing that I need to do, and actually I need to do three before two, because I can't add the new state variable before I actually have a place that uses it. So I need to add a new node to start the graph. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy the route, because this is going to be also a very simple router. In fact, this one, yeah, um, route to results. Oh yeah, there's two routers I have, duh. I was kind of confused there because I would actually do two routers because I have one router that determines should I go through a revised workout, and then I have another router that's like should I go to the end or should I go to the next day based on the day. And so this is a very simple router because it doesn't use an LLM. My other router, the should revise workout, that actually uses another LLM call, just like the actual generators do. So I'll just copy this one because this is another simple router that I'm making here. And I'll say route to revise or create workout. And so I'll say route to either creating a new workout or revising the latest workout. And so create or revise workout. So I'm just kind of updating the doc string here just because I might as well make that clean and polished. It's good to maintain at least semi-decent comments as you're developing your code, because otherwise when I get to the end and I'm ready to publish this to Nvidia, it's going to be like, oh shoot, I actually need to spend 5 hours getting all the comments ready. So in this case, since I'm kind of doing this as I go along, it won't be that realization in the last day that I actually need to grind till 11 p.m. to get all the documentation good, because that is one of the criteria for winning, is having a good quality of submission with things like the project details and instructions, which in my mind is just like documentation of like how to run things and then also what things do, what they mean. All right. So route to revise or create workout. So route to revise or create. And so what I'll do is I'll get the state of the actually, I don't really need a new state for if I should go right to revise or not. I can just see if there's user feedback yet. Because if there is user feedback, then I know I need to go right to the revising. And that'd be the only time that I need to re-enter the graph is once there's feedback. So yeah, I'm gonna simplify this here, and maybe I'll change this later, but I'll just say user feedback. and I'll just say that user feedback is get the user feedback from the graph state. Um, so if user feedback has been provided, then go to revise the next workout. Otherwise, create a new workout from scratch. So if the user feedback is not just an empty string, then I need to go to revise. And I can even like print out here, route to revise workout. If the user feedback is not an empty string, then I need to route to create next workout. So I'll just say create, revise and create. Those are my two options here. All right, and so now in the workflow, I need to add a new node. Actually, um, man, I just realized I created a router, and I don't think you can have a router as an entry point. Um, that's interesting. Yeah, I haven't really set up something like this before with a line graph where I have like some entry point that like does work and then has to route after. Well, in this case, my my entry point doesn't do anything yet. I just need it to like go right to the router. But if I were to implement like security checks and stuff, then I actually would need that in a node. Um, so I guess this makes sense. I'll just have to make another node here, which is fine. Do that. Actually, I'll make it at the top here because it's the entry point. So I'll say entry point um, entry point, and right now it will do nothing. That is fine. Um, right? Yeah, because I just need the router. So this is a little jank right now, but I will make it do stuff later. But it'll just return an empty dictionary. But I don't need it to actually update anything. So that works. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is going to add a new node. I'm just going to do it at the top here, and I'll call this entry point, and that is the function called entry point. And then the entry point now is going to be called entry point. So it's very meta, but this totally works. And then I'll just set a conditional edge, workflow.add conditional edge, and on the entry point, and then it's going to route to revise or create workout. So if I create workout generator. So revise workout generator for revise, or create, and then workout generator. That's just based on what it returns here in this function here. So revise, then I need to go to the revise workout generator. If I create, and that's if there is no user feedback, because if user feedback is an empty string, then that's going to be false. So it'll go to the else here. Then it'll return create. And so if I create, then I go to workout generator. So that should be good. Um, let me just double check that to make sure I have the names of everything right as well. I think it looks good. Okay, let's run it and just see. So I'm going to rerun from here. Well, actually, hold on. I really want to make sure this is solid before I just go for it. So let me go back down to the input, make sure I'm doing this right as well. Because I set the user feedback. And then later on, I would actually like update the current workout as well as the user feedback because I have both those different pieces. But right now, I'm just testing, changing the user feedback. I have it set to an empty string, which is good because I need that to be defined. Otherwise, it'll throw an error when it tries to access the state of user feedback and the first time that I have the graph here. And actually, what I can do, let me just generate the new picture of the graph to make sure things look good. Um, Good. That looks perfect. So entry point, and then if I should revise, go right there. If I should create, go here. And then this still has like the loop for next day if they don't want to revise, but otherwise I will revise and go there. This is where I do the interrupt. And then if I don't have the interrupt for whatever reason, like I said, maybe I will implement a mode where the user can say, the personal trainer can say, I don't want to give any feedback. I just want to generate the entire week right away. Then it would still be useful to have this whole setup, because then it can do things by itself instead of just like cutting off here and then coming at the entry point and then revising here. So that should be totally solid. All right, let me give this a shot now. I just wish I knew how many tokens I was using for Nvidia. Um, I do not want this because I was updating the day just to test things, but I definitely don't want that. Yeah, okay, good, good. All right, I am going to just run this, see what happens. Oh, there's already an error. Okay. Um, what does this mean here? I think something might be wrong with my inputs. Must write to at least one of. I wonder if adding user feedback messed up something. I think I'm missing something so obvious here. But that's the life of a developer, unfortunately. A lot of times dealing with crap is dealing with the super basic things where you're like, oh, duh, I should have found that immediately. Let's see, what am I missing? Oh, I think I know what it is. It's because I can't just return an empty dictionary. Like this actually has to do something. Um, that's fine. So what I'll do is I'll just have day stay the same. So I get the state for the day and then I just return that. I believe that is my problem here. So let me rerun this stuff. Make sure my picture still looks the same. I love this. Like this is just a beautiful way to understand what's going on. I just really like that part of lane graph. All right, so now I should be able to run this without an issue. No. Okay, new error. New error. That's good. That's all I need. It's a new error. Um, user feedback is user feedback, and it doesn't like it. Maybe my inputs got messed up. That looks right. I spelled something wrong. Because it's saying that there's a key error. Might have. I'm just gonna run everything. Uh, created workouts doesn't exist. Why is that? It that did not go long enough. I feel like it went here right away when it should not have. Route to revise. Uh, route to create next workout. No. Um. Why did it exit so fast? Oh, no, it didn't exit. It's just streaming out each. Okay, okay. Created workouts. And then this one, when I create, Sorry, this troubleshooting is definitely sucking some time. Workout generator. Oh, I know, I know. I'll just do here's what I'll do. Okay, so this I'm learning something new myself. When I say for output and app.stream, every single time a node runs, what it updates is going to be in this output. And so before my first node, it actually set created workouts. But now that I have this new entry point that didn't set created workouts, it was like, hey, I can't find created workouts because it's looking specifically in the dictionary that that node is returning that defines what it's actually updating in the state of the graph. That is a mouthful. But basically, what I need to do is I just need to make sure that it updates created workouts so that the return of the entry point includes that as one of the values. So I'm going to again run everything after. This should work now. Um, sure enough, it is not failing immediately, which is good. Okay, so it's revising the workout. Cool, cool. Whoa. Hell no. That get out of here. Something went totally. I accidentally started it again. Um, on. I messed up. I wanted to keep that output to see what was going wrong. Um, okay, yeah. Let me run it again. Sorry about that. All right, so you need to generate a new workout, and it failed. All right, let's see why it failed. Invalid JSON output. Oh, weird. That is not good. It actually outputted invalid JSON. I have not seen that happen before. That could be an issue specifically with the Nvidia NIMs because I've never seen it with the Grok Llama. Maybe I should go off the instruct. That could be a potential issue. Let me try running this again. All right. So it actually decided not to revise the workout, which that is also new. Typically, it'll always decide to revise the workout. Yeah, now it decides to revise. So that is good because it'll get the user feedback and then it'll go into actually revise. So yeah, here we go. So I'm gonna stop it here because this is not good. What is going on? All right. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, okay. First things first. First things first. This is good. It got the user feedback successfully when it went to revise the workout. That's solid. The problem is it's hitting that interrupt every single time. So in my graph here, I come back here, I go to the entry point, and I need to revise, but I'm interrupting before revise. And so it is, man, that is, okay, I know the solution here. Because I can interrupt before revise, but then even when I go to revise with the feedback, it'll interrupt again. And so it'll interrupt, then it'll get the new feedback, and it'll go in, it's about to revise, but then it'll interrupt, and it'll get the feedback, and that's why we get that massive feedback loop here. But what I can do is instead of interrupting before revise workout generator, I can interrupt after the regular workout generator. I think that will solve my problem. So I'm going to run after. This should be good now. Okay. Okay, we get an error. That's fine. Because it's the same thing, isn't it? Invalid JSON output. That is curious. Because actually it looks right this time. Before when it said invalid JSON output, we had parentheses instead of brackets at the end. But now that's interesting. Here's what I'm gonna do. ChatGPT.com. I'm gonna go to ChatGPT.com and I'm going to say I'm going to paste this in and say, why is this not valid JSON? Because I actually don't know. It looks right now. There are parentheses here, and these need to be brackets. So before, the first curly brackets were parentheses, and like the almost outer part, excuse me, of the JSON. But now the issue is llama is giving me parentheses for the inside objects in the JSON, the ones that are inside the arrays. Yep. Okay, so that's unfortunate because it's weird because I've never had this issue with llama 70B from Grok, but when I'm using 70B instruct from Nvidia, I'm running this issue where it's giving me crappy JSON output. So I actually don't know what's up here. I it's unfortunate because I'm telling it, okay, I kind of see the problem here. So I can't use brackets in the prompts because otherwise LangChain thinks that these are things to replace, like variables to replace. So I have to use parentheses. So what I've done is the brackets are replaced with parentheses in the example, but output real JSON. Like I tell it what to do, but it's just misunderstanding me, which is the problem. Um, so it's probably an issue with my prompt. Like I said, like when you have issues with the AI, and it's freaking things up, it might a different model might do better. Like in my case, 70B not instruct, I guess does better, but it still is kind of my fault with the prompting. And it's more useful for me to think it's my fault instead of just blaming the LLM because otherwise I'm helpless. And that's called learned helplessness. It is not good. So it is better for me to be like, okay, I can fix this. I need to fix this instead of just blaming the AI and not doing anything. So I'll get to that, but right now I want to try to focus on what I was doing originally and making sure that this whole feedback system works. So I'm just going to run it again and hope that it doesn't screw it up. And yeah, looks like right off the bat is able to generate the first workout and it was fine. So it's an intermittent issue because LLMs have a bit of randomness to them, and that is totally expected and okay. So we're good now. So now it revised or it is revising the first workout, which is super solid. So I'm gonna let it go. Cool. It makes the yep revise, and then it's gonna do the user feedback again. So I'm gonna let it go one more time. And then actually what I can do is I can go into the Langsmith executions here. So let me go to the one that's currently happening right here. And I can kind of dig in and see what exactly is going on. So I can go into the reviser. So this is the system prompt, and then this is the human. And I can make sure that the feedback is actually there. So here is the feedback the user provided for the workout. Perfect. So we are good. And then here's the workout the previous personal trainer made. I'm just kind of saying, like the reviser, I'm acting like it's a different personal trainer, which is why I'm wording it in this way. Like it's revising someone else's workout, which I think makes it more likely to make suggestions, just from my experience with LLMs. So here's the previous personal trainer's workout. And then, yeah, it's like, hey, change it up. Yeah, so let me see what is it doing now. Still going. Okay, come here. Going back to Langsmith. I don't know why they're hidden runs. Okay, so I'm just gonna go to a another prompt here. I'm just making sure that it's including all the workouts that it's building up. And that's why Langsmith is amazing because I can actually like run this super complicated graph that's doing a lot of different LLM calls. And I can go and see and make sure that the prompts for each one of them are correct, that all of the inputs are actually being included properly, which is good. Yep, so this is the day one workout. Good. Here's the day two workout. And I can actually check, like, let me go to the strength portion to make sure. Front, pull down, step up, push press. Good. So it included the push press. That was one of the exercises that I told it to include. And then Um, which one is this? Wait, does this not include the feedback? Hold on a second here. Or is that at the here? I feel like I'm missing the feedback in this one. Um, that's weird. Oh no, it's because this is the router. Huh. Ah, my bad. All right, let me open this back up because this is the route to revise workout. So that's not the one that takes the feedback. That was my bad. Um, why collapse? Collapse. This is weird because it's. Oh, I know what's happening. Um, workout generator. These are all different executions because it's restarting the graph each time, even though it's keeping the state. That's a little unfortunate because it makes my Langsmith not as powerful. That's too bad. Revise workout generator. Okay, let me make sure this is taken in the feedback. That is a little unfortunate. Um, because typically when I don't have the input set to something where it like resets the graph and I have to go back to revise, if I just have it go in that loop, then in Langsmith there'll just be one execution where I'll see many instances of workout generator, revise workout generator, route to revise workout, and that'll all be there in like this. I'll be able to scroll a while here. But because I have it where it like resets the graph now because I need to provide new inputs, each one of these is a new execution, which is kind of unfortunate for my Langsmith debugging. It's not the end of the world, but yeah, I want to make sure here that the feedback is being included. So for day one, we have a clean and jerk. That's good. And then for day two, we had the okay, hang cleans, which is good. Yeah, this is really cool. And then yeah, it gives the feedback, and then here's previous workout. So this is really solid. And then now I can actually look at the final output here because I have it in the results node, like the very last node of the graph. I have it actually output the full workout with like it labeled as like day 1 through 5, so that I can just understand it as a human for now before I have it parsed in the front end. So I'm gonna copy this, and then I'm just gonna go to docs.google.com. Because I've been keeping track of things in docs for like good workouts that it's generated, just so I have like some examples ready. Like I can even copy this, or I guess I can't. Here, docs, blank document, Kaya. I've just been calling them Kaya Fitness because that's my wife's business. It's Kaya Fitness, workout 3. So I've just been calling them like that. So yeah, here, I'll put this in. Let's check this out. All right, so first we've got the clean and jerk, super solid. So it's taking in the feedback. This is really good. And then for day two, we had the I don't know if I was looking at yeah hang clean. Yep. I think we saw push press for the day two before, but I think that was before the feedback. So that's why it changed the day two there. And then for day three, we have clean and jerk again. Okay. And a push press. So I didn't quite follow the feedback of only having one. I'm pretty sure. I missed out on that. The LM's never going to be perfect, so that's not a huge deal. Yeah, just one of the four. So yeah, technically I didn't listen to that, which is fine. It can't be perfect. I don't expect it to be. And that's why there's an opportunity for users for personal trainers to select alternatives and give feedback and stuff because it isn't always going to be perfect. So yeah, let's see what it did for this day. It did hang clean. Okay. All right. I didn't tell it to be super different between the days, so that's fine. Let me see what it did for day 5 here. The last day, it did just a push press. So it did clean and jerk, and then hang cleans and push presses. It never did power cleans. It decided not to. But the point is, like, it is listening to the feedback, so that is super solid. And then another little piece here is like I could always use GPT 4 or 4.0 if I wanted something even more powerful. Like this entire thing is using Llama, which honestly fails at a lot of tasks that I've had AI do before. Like one application that I made before was for SMS lead nurturing. And so I have a lot of prompting that went into how to talk to leads, the different actions it takes. Like I had it actually as like an agent where it can interact with our calendar for booking and stuff. And then I had RAG, so it can retrieve information about our clients to have like the good input, like this is our address and things like that. Like there was so much going on with that application, and GPT did phenomenal with it. It does phenomenal. Like that's like my biggest project, AI project to date. But when I tried other AIs like Claude Haiku, for example, or Google Gemini, like it fell apart. because there's just so much prompting that went into it. And Llama is the same. It's not as powerful as a model as GPT. And so everything I'm doing here is going to be even better with GPT, which is a super cool part. And when I submit this application to NVIDIA for the competition, I'm going to be using Llama almost certainly, just because like I can use NVIDIA for that. But at some point, maybe with NVIDIA, there'll be more powerful models, or I could use GPT. Like there's like a more powerful model is just yet another thing that can make this whole application even more powerful, along with all the other things I can do to prompt better, to make my graph more powerful, to make sure the input is considered more, the feedback. Like there's so many things I can do to make this better. And the model, like having just a whole different model, is like even another dimension. That's one of the things that gets me fired up about AI is just like how much innovation is going into this. Like not only from what I can do, but just like what is going to be available to me throughout the next year is going to be more than I could possibly imagine. So there's just like so much room for growing my skill sets, and also just the what I have has resources available to me. Even like tools like LangGraph and LangChain, and all this stuff with NVIDIA. Like it's just it's dope. So yeah. All right, no, cool. So at this point, I have the feedback good to go. That's pretty exciting. Um, let's see. And then, yeah, so I got NVIDIA hooked up. I got the feedback good to go. I think the next big thing would probably be to get this hosted. Because before I can even do anything with a front end, I need to have this available as an API. And it's actually quite convenient because LangChain has another tool called LangServe. Okay, so first we have LangChain, which is the core library for doing all this AI work. Then we have LangGraph, which is what allows us to make agents that work together in like the graph that I showed for my application. Then we have LangSmith, which is for the tracing, being able to see the execution of your agents as they happen. And then finally, we have LangServe, which is going to be for actually hosting these runnables. So like when I create this graph and turn it into a compiled app that is called a LangChain or runnable. And LangServe is my way to host it as an API endpoint so that I can actually use it within a JavaScript front end. So you can see here they have a JavaScript client that's available in LangChain.js that I can interact with the this runnable that I have of my LangGraph graph that I have hosted. I'll probably just, I think they recommend using like Fast API. So it's like hosted with Python, and then I use my JavaScript front end to interact with it. So I think that is the next big thing that I will need to do. But yeah, at this point, I'm exhausted through, yeah, it's been, how long has the stream been going on for now? Can I check? Um, yeah, I've been live for almost 2 hours now, and a lot of solid progress. So I think I'm going to stop it there. And then when I stream again, maybe tonight or for sure tomorrow, I will work on getting this hosted with LangServe. And so that'll involve two things. First, and it'll involve actually creating this as basically like a fast API. So I need to take this off of Jupyter Notebook and actually put it into my own Python environment that I would have ready to host. And so I would need to, yeah, basically like take all these cells and then like combine them together into a Python script, basically that so I could have my, like this is a super basic example, but the whole thing with their chain here is just a prompt and a model. Like they throw the prompt and chain it into a model. This is their runnable. So my runnable would be all of the stuff I've done with the graph thrown into that object that represents the compiled graph, and that would be my runnable that I'd have here in the route. So I need to do that. That's the first step. And then the second step is to actually set up this fast API endpoint and run it on some machine. I'll probably use DigitalOcean. I love DigitalOcean, digitalocean.com. This is a really nice way to have cloud servers available to you. It's pretty cheap, and there's not a lot of overhead that comes with doing the same kind of thing like Azure, Google Cloud, or AWS, where you have to deal with IAM permissions and EBS volumes, and there's so many different things getting a machine set up. With DigitalOcean, it's really simple. So my plan is just to host this fast API for my LangGraph runnable in a DigitalOcean server. So that'd be the second step. So first step is getting it in a Python script where I have that runnable, and the second step is getting it in a hosted fast API. And so then at that point, I would be ready to then move into the front end. So that is my plan. And I'm going to, yeah, close down the stream here and kick it up later. Yeah. Thanks for watching. There's a couple of people that tuned in. I noticed as I was going through this, so I appreciate that. Yeah, more viewers than I expected, honestly. Like I said, I'm just doing this to build skills along with like soft skills, along with my hard skills of coding and AI here. And maybe who knows at some point if I win this competition, like I'm planning on doing, or just if I really start to get noticed for all this stuff I'm doing and trying to help other people understand AI, maybe people come back and watch this as like my very first stream ever, doing something cool with AI. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.